Welcome back, YouTubers and Madden fans. This is Madden Money Shot, sniffing out the Madden cheese as always. I got part 2 of my best players edition, my best rookies in Madden 20. The ratings came out a couple of days ago, and I sifted through all couple hundred of them to find the best ones. These are the ones that are either the best players, which you're obviously going to know, like Devin White here is one of the first defensive players off the board, or more importantly, you're going to be sleeper players. If you want a player like Devin White, but you don't want to pay the Devin White price, which means you either got to take the Bucks, which aren't a great team, or you got to trade a whole boatload of players and draft picks to get Devin White on your team. If you want a guy like Devin White, but you don't want to pay that price, I got some amazing sleepers for you that you're not even going to notice the difference. So stick around for that. I wanted to start off with edge rushers, but I got to throw out there Quinnen Williams. He's the highest rated rookie in the game. He's an 80 overall. Like I said, you pretty much got to take the Jets if you want to get this guy. I mean, this is a really strong defensive class overall. I mean, he's, you know, the #1 guy, but you got Ed Oliver, who went a couple of picks later. Ed Oliver's an 81 speed. A lot of people compare him to Aaron Donald. Jerry Tillery, that's a guy that I think has the highest hit power amongst defensive tackles. Christian Wilkins, he's a monster. You know what I mean? It's like they've had so many great defensive linemen. I can't imagine that you're going to be able to trade for any of these guys. And overall, there wasn't a ton of sleeper linemen because, like I said, it was such a star-studded group. If there's one guy though that you might be able to steal, a guy that's fast and has strength, which I think are both important. I don't even know how to say his name. Darnell Savage. He's a 91 strength, which is one of the highest among the defensive tackles in the rookie class. And he's a 72 speed with an 82 acceleration. So if you want to push up this pocket and you don't want to go out and try to get one of these big names, I think he's going to be one of the best ones to get. Moving on to edge rushers, here's going to be a guy who's going to be one of the most dominant players in the game right off the bat. Montez Sweat, 91 speed, fastest amongst edge. I'm calling them edge guys, linebackers / defensive ends, whatever system you run. He has first in acceleration, which to me acceleration is as important as anything. He's got a 93 excel, and he's got one of the highest finesse moves at a 75. He's a guy, he only slipped down the board. He would have been a top 5, top 10 pick. Some medical questions came up, so he slipped down the board right before the draft, but he's definitely going to be a beast. The second fastest guy of note is Brian Burns. They're both first round picks, so you're probably not going to get either one of them. But Brian Burns, 88 speed, 91 excel, 78 finesse move. If you want to get a guy that I think is going to be a real cheap steal, I mean, honestly, speed is one of the most important things. But if you're looking for a sleeper with speed, Quentin Bell off the Raiders, 88 speed, 91 excel, just like Brian Burns. He doesn't have pass rush moves. They're a lot lower than Brian Burns is. And he's only like a 64 overall. So he's a guy, computer might cut him in certain leagues. Users might cut him, who knows, but he's a guy you could take, put him as an outside edge rusher, and try to grow him with that outstanding speed. So next up, we got the linebackers. I got some outstanding steals at linebackers. I don't want to spend too much time on the defensive line because they're all pretty much big names. And pretty much goes the same with the first 2 linebackers I'm going to tell you about. Devin Busch, one of the fastest guys. Devin White, I'm looking at right now. He's a 92 speed guy, 91 acceleration. Like I said, you're not going to be able to get him. He's a monster. Devin Busch, the guy the Steelers drafted, same thing. He's got the highest hit power, second fastest speed at 91 speed. These guys are basically twins, the Devin and Devin twins. They're both monsters, but you're not going to be able to trade for those guys. So unless you pick those teams, you're going to be SOL. But you can go ahead and get a guy like Blake Cashman. Blake Cashman was a 5th round pick on the Jets. The Jets signed C.J. Mosley. They have an outstanding linebacking core already. Go ahead and try to get a guy like Blake Cashman off of whoever owns the Jets. He's got 90 speed, 90 excel, 83 hit power. If you compare his stats side by side with Devin Busch and Devin White, he's right there. He's like a couple points behind them every time. And you can get him for next to nothing. Another really interesting option is Drue Tranquill off of the Chargers. 87 speed, 87 acceleration. Those are good speeds and accelerations, but what really makes this guy special is he has the highest coverages, whether it's man or zone, out of any rookie in the game. He's #1 in both. So if you want a linebacker, he's a middle linebacker, but if you want a guy that you can roam in space and trust he's going to get the coverage done, take this guy, go find him, you get him cheap, make him an outside linebacker, let him roam in coverage, and you're going to, watch the dude collect interceptions all game. Next up, we're going to do the safeties. #1 guy on my list is John Abram. He was a 1st round pick, and he's #1 on a lot of Madden's lists too. He's #1 in hit power. He's one of the highest in speed. He's #1 in strength, #1 in play recognition, and #1 in block shedding for safeties. I mean, across the board, he's easily one of the best safeties in the game this year. He's kind of short. That's one of the only things. I'd like a taller safety than him, but I think of him as more of like a box guy anyway. Once again, you're probably not going to be able to get him off the Raiders regardless. There's a couple of guys. Darnell Savage is also a monster from Green Bay. He's 93 speed, 91 acceleration. He's first in play rec, tied with John Abram, and he's got an 84 hit power. So if you're not going to be able to get these type of guys, what are some guys you can get? What are some later picks that you can get to fill these voids in your secondary. And one of my top guys was somebody I wanted the Eagles to get in real life, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Somehow this guy fell to the 4th round, but EA didn't take the time to lower his ratings based off of that, because he was mocked as like a 1st round guy. So this guy here, he has one of the top zones, one of the highest zones. He's a 90 speed, 90 acceleration. He's 2nd in block sheds amongst rookies, and he's 3rd in catch. He's got hands. He's got 71 hands. So this is a guy, because he went in the 4th round, his rating might be a little low. You know what I'm saying? The guy that has, I mean, whoever has the Saints are loaded, so they might not know this guy's on there, and you might be able to steal him for not too much. Another good one like that is Nasir Adderley. He was a 2nd round pick, so I don't know if you're going to be able to get him away. I mean, he's not like the steal like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is, but he's number 1 in zone and catch. He's got an 88 speed, and he's a little bit taller. I mean, he's a rangy guy, but once again, Chargers have a loaded roster. Maybe he slips through the cracks. And then last but not least, this guy will most likely slip through the cracks because he was a 4th or 5th round pick. I think he was the 1st pick in the 5th round. Deonte Thompson. This guy here, 73 zones, one of the highest, 87 speed, and he's 6'1". Now, none of those are really, you know, this is a guy like, I think you could groom him to be your safety of the future because of his size and speed combination. He starts off pretty good, but he's not necessarily on the level of the other guys, but definitely a guy that I would take and grow into my starting free safety. And then last but not least, we got the starting corners. Greedy Williams is probably the most well-known. I mean, there's some other good ones. You know, you need size and speed when it comes to corners. You don't want to get beat deep, and Greedy Williams is probably the best combination of the two. He's 6'2". He's got a 93 speed, a 92 acceleration. He's number 1 in man coverage, which hasn't been popular in years. But, you know what I mean, you can grow them out. You know what I'm saying? These are all players you got to grow anyway. You might want to, you know, obviously it'd be better if he was a zone corner, but with that size and speed, he's going to be able to do whatever you want him to do. I'd say the best zone corner would probably be Byron Murphy, but I don't really like his you know, he's got some good intangibles. He's got good size. He's a hitter. He's physical and all that, but he doesn't have the speed, and I just worry that he might get beat deep. But we're going to talk about size and speed combinations. Jamel Dean, a guy I don't even know who he is, drafted by the Bucks, 6'2", 94 speed, which is 1st. He's the fastest cornerback in the game. Like I said, 6'2", it's even better. He doesn't have the best agility though. An 85 agility is a little bit concerning on like comeback routes or basically any route. He might get, you know, he might lose his space because of the agility, but he's not going to get beat deep, which is important if you run cover 3 like me or cover 4 like a lot of people. His agility, you know, that's a little bit of a concern, but he's also got the highest hit power. So not only is he 6'2" and he's fast, but he's going to be hitting people. You can make this guy safety if you wanted to, if you're you know, worried about his one-on-ones with people. So that's definitely a guy worth looking at. And then last but not least, this guy's probably the most physically gifted cornerback in the rookie class. Kendall Sheffield, 93 speeds, one of the fastest guys, you know, in real life, he's one of the fastest guys to come into the draft. 93 speeds, a little bit behind. 93 acceleration and a 92 agility, so that means that he's going to be able to cut and stop on a dime. He'll be able to stay with receivers longer. Those physical traits alone make this guy worth looking at. And he was just like I think he was like a 4th round pick by the Falcons, who have a pretty decent cornerbacking core. So once again, you might be able to sneak that guy away, make him your star corner over time. So that's it. That's all the defensive players. That's the end of this series of videos, 2 videos. That's all. I'm going to move on to teams next. I'm going to try to show you guys the best teams to take in your CFM, some sleeper teams, stuff like that, which, like I said, I do every year. So if you want to see that, hit the like button. I'll do that next. Other than that, thanks for watching Madden Money Shot out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.